Hari Om, Bhajagovindam chanting verses 26 till the end.
Kamam krodham lobham moham tyaktvatmanam pashyati soham Atmajnana vihina mudha te pachyante narakanigudha Yeyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dheyam Shripati Rupamajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dina Janaya Chavittam Sukhatah kriyate Rama bhogah paschadhanta sharire rogah Yadyapi loke maranam sharanam tadapi na munchati papacharanam Arthamanartham bhavaya nityam nasti tata sukhalesha satyam Putradapi dhana bhajam bhitihi sarvatraisha vihitaritihi Pranayamam pratyaharam nitya viveka vicharam Japya sameta samadhi vidhanam Purvavadhanam mahadavadhanam Guru charanambuja nirbhara bhaktah samsarad chiradbhava muktaha Sendriya manasa niyamadevam Drakshasi nija hridayastham devam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate Samprapte sannihite kale Nahi rakshati dukrin karane Nahi rakshati dukrin karane Nahi rakshati dukrin karane
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti. The concluding 4 verses of Bhajagovindam gives the summary of the entire text. So it's almost like, redoing the entire text. So, and also comes as a blessings. It just concludes with the final words. First, he explained what is the problem with enjoyment. And then he went on to explain what is the approach in which you have to go about relating to acquisition, wealth. So acquisition and enjoyment. Now, how much ever you acquire wealth, it cannot nourish your life. It cannot nurture you. In fact, there's a saying in English, say, when wealth accumulates, men decay. More and more wealth comes into things, you deteriorate. Human quality goes off, meaning the humanness will not be there. Something is missing in them. It's you need a keen observation to look at people. As they grow, meaning more of superficiality comes into picture. More and more wealth starts accumulating in the society. The people become more and more superficial in their all the relationships becomes highly superficial. But those things are supposed to be absorbed by you. Now it cannot be taught. I can't give a lecture on that, because these things, when you speak on it, will look ugly. Certain things are not supposed to be spoken. Certain things are to be, observed, understood, and leave it. You don't talk about it. That's called sophistication. That's what we see in these characters, in Ramayana. Women were supposed to be having that quality. We see that in Ramayana. That one question none of them ask. Neither, Sita asks that one question which she could have asked to Rama. Or Kaushalya could have asked to the Asharatha. Or Tara could have asked to Vali. Mandodari could have asked to Ravana. She never says that. That one question she never asks. It's not, refined characters. It's the refinement. As that wealth starts accumulating, we feel that, because the wealth we run behind, because it gives a false sense of security. It does give the sense of security, but it's a false sense. Like many people say, I disagree, I beg to differ. I say, you can disagree with me, but what is the basis for your disagreement? Is ignorance the basis for you disagreeing, or it is knowledge that is basis for you to disagree? I think wrong in agreement or disagreement. Point is, what is your basis? I don't agree with this. I say, okay, you don't have to agree, I'm saying, but what is the basis for that? Is it knowledge? Is it your better understanding? Or it is your ignorance? Like the mathematics teacher did not agree with Ramanujam when he solved the problem. Like Einstein did not understand, he did not agree with the methods of Shakuntala Devi. The Max visit we had, that lady. Now she did a performance in front of, Einstein. He was there. She did a performance there. I say, how can you have calculations like that? And she says, you give me the question arithmetics, answer comes to me. I'm not deriving answer. Einstein says, how can you not derive? See, from question you can't jump to answer. You have to, there is a steps, you see. She says, I don't know about steps and all that. You give me the question, answer comes to me. That's it. And the figures, she writes on the board. Goes on writing. Even if one error, he also didn't agree with the method of her. But his agreement or disagreement or his immediately says what? I don't understand. It's my ignorance. Now, many times we all disagree. On what basis? Same way. You see, it gives you a security, no doubt. But do you understand that it is a false sense of security that wealth gives? Because there was a time once you believed, if I can have about 50,000 rupees, I'll feel better. And that should give to me, not today, when I'm earning 50,000. Immediately we say, well, inflation. Inflation has come down. Come down. Till you get there, it gives that, says, the wealth people believe, they feel powerful. When you have money with you, you feel that power. You see, when you are not having it, you feel weak. You feel scared. When you have it, you feel very powerful. It gives you that, no doubt about it. But you go on collecting over a period of time. That same wealth starts giving you fear. The wealth that gave you power becomes a source of fear to you. That's what he says, artham anartham, he says. So there's a mistake in terms of enjoyment, there's a mistake in terms of this. So don't get involved with all these things, man. Get on to your seek Govinda. Every verse you have to remember that. Bhaja Govindam. Therefore, what are you supposed to do? Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamati. Start seeking the self. Start seeking the self. And that's the advice by Shankara. Now in verse 30, the next verse, he is giving us the method, the spiritual discipline. He gives pranayamam, pratyaharam, nitya viveka vicharam, chapya sameta samadhi vidhanam, kurvavadhanam, madhavadhanam. Another beautiful verse. Pranayamam, pratyaharam, nitya viveka vicharam, chapya sameta samadhi vidhanam, kurvavadhanam, madhavadhanam. Regulation of pranas, life activities, withdrawal from sense activity, focus on distinction between eternal and ephemeral, practice of chanting and silencing the mind. These perform with care, with great care. The entire spiritual discipline he covers here in one verse. What is the spiritual path? Effort starts with this pranayama and pratyahara, and then vivekam, and then japa. This is the practice. Now this pranayamam, see, pranayama and all you would have heard. It comes, very popular in this Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga, gives 8 steps. It's there. So yogam means that. So you have to go there to understand what is this. Is that 8-fold, path, 8-fold steps. And he says path, what he means is the stages. So you have to graduate from one to the other, to the other, to the other. That's how the thing is there. So that is the yoga methodology. Now, which one Shankara refers here, we don't know. But since Shankara doesn't follow the path of yoga system, he follows this Vedanta system. But Vedanta, one advantage is, what this Vedanta does is, these fellows, if they find anything interesting, anything valuable from any system, they will borrow it. These fellows, they don't care. If somebody has done a good research on something, they will borrow that and take it. They will absorb and becomes, part of the system. It will never leave that. But at the same time, it will not, accept certain, positions of those various systems, various religions. You can take it as, or you can take it as various philosophy or various darshanas, whatever you call it. Other schools, they don't. But Vedanta is, very unique here. Other systems don't have this practice. So only Vedanta has this practice, of agreeing, accepting, and absorbing that into that system. Other places, what they do is they agree, but they don't adapt. They say, yeah, he's also correct. Yeah, that I agree with. Now, the moment you say, I agree with, it means I'm going to do that. If you are not following through, then it's not an agreement. It is just, like what we have in the news channels, they have the discussion panels, they'll be sitting and talking. So that is not the way here they do. They debate and they discuss, they analyze and all those things. But the moment they find something valuable in the opposite, they absorb it. There are so many things we see in Vedanta. When we study, here and there we just, give some ideas. Certain things we have absorbed from Mimamsa school. There are 6 schools were there, popular in those days. Apart from other religions and all those things, there are 6 schools were there. Is, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa is one school. Uttara Mimamsa is what is known as Vedanta now. What Shankara follows and what we all study is that Uttara Mimamsa. And then Purva Mimamsa. Then you had Sankhya Yoga, another set. Another set is Nyaya and Vaiseshika. So Nyaya, Vaiseshika, then Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa. This many times this yoga, this Nyaya and Vaiseshika go hand in hand because they accept certain things, very easily. There are a lot of commonalities between the two. So we keep them together. Similarly, this yoga and Sankhya also has certain things common. Similarly, this two also has certain things common. This Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa also has something. So of that 6, we follow what we take and study is this. Why? Because Shankara is following that right now. And independently also we study that as, the which system that you people follow. And as we say, it is Vedanta. In that Vedanta, people immediately go and ask, are you following, Shankara, or you follow, Ramanuja, or you follow Madhva? All 3 are Vedanta only. Remember, all these 3 are considered as Vedanta. But we don't have to go into that. Those things are all become, scholastic analysis. I'm not interested in that. And though if it is good to study, to know, unless you are going to be taking it as, full time. Like I say, if you plan to teach Vedanta, you have to know all these things. Okay. Now, if you are not planning to teach Vedanta, there is no necessity for you to know all these details. It's all waste of time. Sheer waste. If you're going to teach, then you have to know. That's all. Now, but what you have to know here is this. This Vedanta is a unique proposition, unique position they take. That is, they don't agree with other 5. Vedanta doesn't agree with all the points of the other 5. There is a difference. That is why there is a separate system. Otherwise, why there is a separate system? You know, the fact that it is separate, it is different now, isn't it? Like masala dosa you have in Vidyarthi Bhavan is different from masala dosa you have in MTR. Yeah. Now you can't say both masala dosas are same. No, they are not same. Saravana Bhavan masala dosa is totally different. Adayar Ananda Bhavan masala dosa is very different. Vidyarthi Bhavan masala dosa is very different. MTR masala dosa is very different. Now all of them give masala dosa, but it's not the same, no? Isn't it? Same gives coffee, but all coffee is not same, no? Isn't it? You can't have, coffee from anywhere. We have our own place. We like coffee only if it comes from there. There are people who don't like Maya's coffee. Can you believe? They say, no, coffee, no, it's okay only, not so good. MTR coffee, the fellow says not good. Now what can you do? Each one has their own. Now it's all coffee only, but there is a difference. Similarly, there is a difference there. So Vedanta doesn't agree with other systems, but at the same time, what this Vedanta does is, it will borrow certain things, facets, wherever it is interesting. So one case is this here, direct borrowal of the positions of pranayamam, pratyaharam. This is direct borrowal from yoga. Now yoga, there are 8 limbs in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Patanjali gives 8 stages, 8 steps he gives. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, then Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. This is the 8 steps are there. I'm not going into the details of that, okay? That's not our context, but you can just know. What is this Yama, Niyama? Yama, Niyama. In this yoga system, they say first 4 are preparations. Actual yoga starts only from the 5th step. First 4 steps are preparatory steps. You prepare yourself for that, like entrance exam. You pass that entrance exam and then you can join the course. Like that it is. You do CAT and then you can join this college. Like that it is. So you have to write that entrance exam. Entrance exam is this preparation. The first 4 were considered as preparatory. Second 4 is called actual yoga. What are the first 4? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama. These 4. And then comes Pratyahara in that yoga. Now what Shankara is doing is, he's just taking from that 2 things. He says, he starts from Pranayama. Understood is what? Referring to all preparations. What are the preparations? Yama, Niyama. Yama, Niyama, don't confuse yourself with, there are 5 here and all they give. All that is not. All that you have to understand is, it only gives two things. In life, what you have to do, what you should not do. That's all. In Tamil they say, Vidittana Seidal, Vilakkiyana Odithal. That's all. What is this Yama, Niyama, sir? Only these 2 things, they say. What is that? Doing what is enjoined, not doing what is not enjoined. That's all. Enjoined by whom? Then we immediately ask, enjoined by whom, sir? Not by you. There are few things were allowed to do. Certain things you are not supposed to do. So essentially, Yama, Niyama means do's and don'ts. After you have mastered the do's and don'ts as per that, so you have to live a particular lifestyle. Your lifestyle should be defined based on this do's and don'ts. Essentially, that's all it is. Very high ethical lifestyle. If you want to take it, very high standard of ethics and morality you live. Then comes asana. Asanas, all of you know. Today, whatever we discuss in terms of yoga studios everywhere, they start from asana only. But that is not how Patanjali begins. Patanjali says asana comes only at the third step. First step is these two things. So the teacher has to ensure that the student has passed first and second. Only then he can be introduced to asana. Why this is given in the first step, we will see that. I will also explain that. Okay, because we are not going to detail, but you have to know this. Why they say you have to live this lifestyle? This is important. Otherwise, we won't understand why they are saying this is so important. All this because when you start practicing this asanas and pranayama, pratyahara, all this dharana, dhyana, and all these things, when you start practicing, I have already told you there are always, for any effort, there are two things. One is the main and the ancillary. There is a main effect and the ancillary effect. The practice of this yoga would start giving a person certain powers, what is known as siddhi powers. Certain powers that fellow will start experiencing. And that they define as there are about 8 types of anima, mahima, etc. All that. Now, I'm not going into those details a lot. There are some powers you will get. It is bound to happen. Now, if you have not followed a very high ethical lifestyle, the moment you get the powers, what will you do? You see, what happens? Like this, anima. Anima is what, sir? Anima is becoming like an atom. You reduce yourself. As I'm sitting and talking to you people, suddenly I shrink to go so small. Like Hanuman had that, And suddenly I grow. Ooh, I start growing, Where Sita got scared. She said, hey, reduce. Yeah. No. Like Arjuna, she also got scared. Seeing that, Mahima of Hanuman, she got scared. Yeah. Oh, imagine you get that power. You see. Now we saw this movies, this invisible. A fellow becomes invisible. They do some scientific research and suddenly he becomes invisible. What will you do? Imagine you become invisible. What is the first thought you are getting? Huh? Don't tell me. Okay. Thank God. Imagine you get that power that nobody will. Whenever you want to disappear, you can just like that disappear. As you are sitting there, you will disappear. Now, what will happen when you get those powers? When you are starting to develop certain powers and you have not developed a high character. Power in the hands of a characterless person, what will happen? Because the discipline that practices doesn't bother about your character. Remember this. That is why today, no yoga studio talks about character building. You see, they don't talk about it. They straight away go to the technique. See, the techniques don't care who you are. Whoever does will get it. But the problem is what? You become a nuisance to the world if you have powers and no character. With a low character, you have power. It is dangerous. And that's what we see in the world now. Suddenly we hear this news about all these things. Imagine, I have this, sadistic idea of, getting a kick out of, giving trouble to people. If I have the power to disappear, what will I do? Straight I'll go to, if I have a weakness for money, what will I do? This Harry Potter had one, one shawl, you cover yourself with that shawl, you will disappear. Nobody will be able to see you. You see. Now imagine a fellow were to have powers like that. That is why they said, first build the character. Only then we will start the technique. Otherwise, we will not teach you anything. That is why this yama and niyama was kept in the first step. Then they said asana to be done. Why? Remember, don't think asanas and all these things were taught to you to reduce your BP, your sugar, your health. Patanjali doesn't bother about your having a fit body. Now, don't reduce Patanjali to a level of a fitness trainer, please. Have some sanctity. Yoga is not taught, but essentially, what is this yoga for? That's why Patanjali, in the very first sutra, he says, Chitta Vritti Nirodha. It's called yoga. You're studying Yoga Sutra for what? Yoga itself is meant for what? Chitta Vritti Nirodha. To cease, cessation of the chitta. For that, why body is needed? What is that? Why you have to keep it? That's why they say actual work is going to be happening at the level of your mind alone. Spiritual effort has got nothing to do with the body. It is to do with the mind. No doubt about it. But if your body is not cooperating, then it will become a problem. Like, what is the role of a canvas for painting? Is the role of body to your spiritual development. Painting has got nothing to do. Your painting capacity, how good the painting is not dependent on the canvas. Suppose you have a fantastic canvas, world best canvas you have, world best brush you have, world best paint you have, doesn't mean you can create a painting like Yama Hussain. That is not possible. Your painting is not based on that. However, even M.F. Hussain will not be able to paint without any one of this. Isn't it? If there is no canvas, what can he do? If the canvas is not stiff enough, if it is torn, right? Now, how can he paint? He can't paint, you see. Similarly, when you are going for this mind, working on the mind in your internal level, the body can cause a disturbance. So you train the body to stay without disturbance. You see, like you should be able to sit without any movement. Try. Okay. Forget about all other things. Just to sit without any movements. You will find the body, if you try that, you see, your body will resist. Your body will say, slightly make a movement. Little movement you do. At least what? This you do. You feel what? Relaxed. You see, without any movement to be there for the body, because every movement will become a disturbance at that stage. Therefore, they say train the body. So create the background for all this. Then comes pranayama. After asanas, you come to pranayama. Now, why this pranayama is, in asana itself, you have this pranayama also, breathing in and breathing out and all that. I'm not going into the philosophy of it. But prana, breathing, they found, has a very close connection to your thoughts. For example, you stop your breathing and try to think. You're trying to solve a problem. Okay. When you're trying to solve, stop your breathing and see whether you are having the possibility to think. Your breathing stops, thought flow stops. There's a close connection to that. Therefore, they found one thing. They said, in fact, for all of us, how it works is in this way only. The thought flow or the thoughts, the properties, the qualities is what is creating the breathing. It is thoughts that control the breathing. The breathing doesn't control the thought, remember. It's not the other way. But since it is so closely connected, see, since it is closely related to, you find suddenly you arrest this, that gets arrested. Regulating this, that gets regulated. So this pranayama is done to give that elongation or the breathing control, so that the mind control can get facilitated easily. Okay. Pranayama is done. Then comes this, in pranayama there are so many methods and techniques. I'm not going into those details. Don't worry about the techniques and all that. Techniques is, don't think, some mystical powers you get through pranayama. Don't believe in all that, please. Pranayama also gives only your physical well-being. That's about it. What is a physical well-being, sir? Simple equation. Remember, in body, more you get pure blood circulation, better the organs will be functioning. How the blood circulation gets purer? Pure blood means what? Pure blood means the blood which contains more oxygen. Right? From where that blood gets that oxygen? The heart. What is it happening, sir? The lungs takes the breath, air, holds it. The lungs have the capacity, it's designed to absorb oxygen content in that air, and you throw out. Whatever is left out is thrown out. You breathe out. That oxygen is sent to the heart, and in the heart it gets mixes with the blood gets purified, that blood flows out. When that flows out, it goes and reaches to all the organs in the body. All the organs gets its energy better, it starts functioning better. That's all happens. Now when you do pranayama, usually when you are living your lifestyle, what do? Our breathing is so shallow. Right? When you do pranayama, what are you doing? You are doing a deep and holding the breath. Right now, you don't breathe in deeply, or you don't hold it for a longer period of time for the lungs to absorb. You don't give enough time. That's all it means. All that means is you should give enough time, no? Right? Just give little more time, it will absorb better. You give more quantity and more time. In pranayama, all that you are doing is you are giving more quantum of air to the lungs. Also, you are giving more time for the lungs to absorb. Therefore, what happens? More oxygen. More oxygen, everything else happens. Automatic. That's why when you do pranayama, immediately you feel fresh. That's all. And then they found there are so many methods in which you can do. permutation combination. That's all it is. One fellow says you do that way, one fellow says you do this way, one fellow says in that combination, this combination. Now, there is no hard and fast rule which combination is better. There is no rule here. System is only this. All that you are doing is what? You are inhaling, you are holding, exhaling, holding. You are keeping the breath outside, then taking in the breath, step, holding the breath inside, and taking the breath out. That's all. So in this, essentially we concentrate only on the first three aspects of it. Inhaling, holding, exhalation. In that, all these things happens. All your health benefits, this benefit, that benefit, all that you are talking about is philosophy is only this much. How it works, sir, only that much it does. Then everything. Now, since it is so closely connected to the thoughts also, when that breathing changes, we always see the corresponding, that side also creates the disturbance sort of, or the calmness sort of happens there. That's about it. You see, it's like every time you see a man, it's only association. Okay, remember this. Every time you see a person, he comes with the red cap. Every day you see him coming for morning walking in the park. He comes with a red cap. He comes with the red cap. He comes with the red cap. Red cap. Suddenly one day you see someone going with a red cap. What is the first thought you get? Why? All other caps you don't get it. But the red color cap, when you see, immediately the thought of this person also pops up. Why that comes there? Association. Similarly, what is closely associated to your thought is prana. How? That's where Vedanta comes and says. This is where Vedanta comes into picture. In prana, don't consider your breathing to be prana. Vedanta says no. Breathing is called swasam. Prana means more than breath. Remember. Now, pranas were divided into 5 aspects. There are 5 types of pranas. This prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udhana. There are 5 pranas referred as pancha prana. So when we say pranas, these 5 pranas keeps controlling, regulating. This 5 is referred as pranayama. Only what you are practicing in breathing in and breathing out is called swasayama. That's not called pranayama. That's called swasam, not prana. But it is how that name it got, sir, because in pranayama it is easily relatable is the breath. Air you take in and take out. Therefore, people started using that term. Pranayama looks far more sophisticated than the term swasayama. That's all. Why they started, everybody uses pranayama is only because of sophistication. That's about it. It looks far more mystical, something interesting about it. Therefore, they used it. But when Shankara says pranayama, don't take it only as what Patanjali refers. In Patanjali's references, we get only this breathing in and breathing out. Shankara includes that. But Shankara is not saying it is not only that. It's much more than that. Then what is it, sir? Prana is all that you receive. All that is receptions were considered as prana. Apana is responses. All the responses, throwing out. Then digestion. Vyana. Samana is circulation. And Udhana is thought absorption. A capacity to take in a fresh thought. Here is the link. The fifth prana establishes the bridge between this and that. Okay. Now more we will study later when we go into detailed study. Later on, we are planning to do it. So at that time I will explain more there. But right now it is a pranayama. Understand there are 5 pranas. All the five needs to be monitored, needs to be done. Starting with what, sir? Starting with the breath control. That's the starting point. But don't think that's the end point. That's not the whole. It's part of it. In yoga system, they take that as that's enough. That's all they talk about. They don't discuss all these things there. There it is only referred as that. So here comes the difference between Vedanta and yoga. So he takes that, he makes it even better, he makes it even more comprehensive and gives it back. So that's it amplifies and gives. That's all Vedanta does. This is the step. Then he gives the second one. He says, Pratyahara. Now this Pratyahara means Pratyahara you got to give. That's what it means. Meaning, the mind should be withdrawn. Means you got to take a U-turn. That's called Pratyahara. Bring that mind back. Return the mind within. All that means is you get a negative thought. Okay. And you get positive thoughts also. It's not that you are having only negative thought in your whole day you are having. Not like that. All of us get positive thoughts and negative thoughts also. Good thoughts and bad thoughts. High, low. All that we get. So which I am using it as positive and negative. Now, Pratyahara effort means you replace every negative thought with a positive thought. That's the effort here. Every negative thought is replaced with a positive thought. Not necessarily it has to be corresponding to that. Not necessary. That fellow made a mistake. I'm going to finish. Next time I see him, he's going to get it. When is he coming? Next visit is what? Friday. Friday. Friday I have to do this, I have to visit the temple. That's all. The moment you say next, this one, first thought should be what for in your mind now. Not the thought of scolding that fellow, fighting with that fellow, venting out all your anger and frustrations on him. Immediately the thought should be what? Friday. Friday we have this temple visit. Replace that thought with temple. That's all. This is called Pratyahara. Now you keep on doing it. Now I'm not saying only one place. It's a long phase. Remember, even though Patanjali says 8 steps, this is just all they have to do, pranayama you have to do. It's not that, one day you sit and do one pranayama and say, next tomorrow onwards, can I do Pratyahara, sir? No. Every step, if you do it consistently, you master that. Average time is 1 Janma. Remember this. That's how it works. Don't think spiritual growth will happen like, it's not like that. One step to grow in spiritual will take 1 Janma. In this Janma, if you can manage to cross 1 step, extraordinary. You can say that, you feel that satisfaction. I've done my job, man, for this Janma. You know, one step is enough. Remember that. That's why he concludes the whole thing. Kurvavadanam Mahadavadanam, he says. Do it with care. Do it with great care. He says. Do it with that, please. Don't try to accelerate. Speed up the process. But when I'm explaining, I will explain. Taka, 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 we will go. Next is this, next is this. Now replacing that every negative with that positive. Replacing the negative with positive. Replacing that negative positive. Replace. Replace. You go on doing that. That is called pratyahara. After you have done that pratyahara, what will happen? In your mind, natural thought to you will be positive. Your mind will no longer have any negative thought possibility at all. You have to reach that stage. After reaching the stage, what to do? That's where he gives the next technique. Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vicharam. Don't start this Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vicharam before you come to this Pratyahara. That's what the problem today is. We start getting into the self-inquiry and all those things even before all that. That's why nobody achieves anything. You can go to Tiruvannamalai. You can go to same Ramana Ashram also. You can also go to that same Virupaksha cave and sit. You feel what? Wow, fantastic. And come out. That's all you know. Or else you go to this Tiruvannamalai temple. As you are going inside the temple, what you will feel? That's what I was telling. My school, they took us for excursion. I said, it's too hot. This temple is too hot, I say. They say, that's why it is called as Agnisthala. Why it is known as Agnisthala? It is hot. Normally temple, you see that. It's so hot there. You see. And they say this lingam is, emanating, heat. It's, radiates heat there, it seems. How and all, we don't know. But there are theories. There are explanations for that and all those things they claim, but I don't know what extent that is. But this Tesla concept and this, energy, field and things like that. But I have no idea all those things. But it's one thing for sure. You can go there, you can feel that heat. Tiruvannamalai, a very hot place. You go to Virupaksha cave, come out what? Sweating. That's all. It will happen. Nothing else is going to happen to you. Why, sir? But it happened to Ramana. It did not happen to you. How did it happen to Ramana? Why is that? Because the fellow has already covered the steps. Whatever has to be done, he has completed all that. After you reached a position where it is not possible for me to entertain any negative thought. That mass of thoughts that I carry with me, all that is what, sir? Good, positive, higher. Not a single negative I have. Single low thought, base, gross, self-centered, egocentric thoughts. Nothing is there. In fact, pratyahara means this. Your mind is totally withdrawn, means it is bankrupt. Bankruptcy to think anything selfish. You have become incapacitated to think selfish, egoistic, self-centered, personal. There is no possibility of that in you. Then you sit for this self-inquiry. What is that self-inquiry, sir? Inquiry you have to start. What is that inquiry? Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara. Beautiful construction. Is it Punya, Apunya, Vivarchita Panta? I told you that earlier. Similarly, this is another construction. Fantastic one. What is this Jnana Yoga? What is self-inquiry? It gives a beautiful explanation of distinction. This focus on the distinction between eternal and ephemeral. Inquiry into the distinction. Vicharam. Viveka, Vicharam. What do you have to do there? Do that Viveka, that inquiry you have to do. Focus on this inquiry between what is real and what is unreal. Now, for all of us, this is not a problem at all, actually. All of us know what is real, what is unreal. We are real, world is real, God is slightly unreal. You don't say totally unreal, then you become an atheist. You can't digest that. If you're atheist, you'll not be sitting in the class, right? You will not be here. Since you are here, what do you say? You say, God is also real only, but which is more real? Who is more real to you? Amazing idea. Yes. Do that inquiry. When? After completing this pranayama, controlling of breath, controlling all your life's activities, all the activities of life, complete control. And then what had happened, sir? Mind has totally withdrawn from all negativities. Negativity means what? Selfish, egocentric thinking. That's called a negativity. Right? Negative means that any selfish thinking, any egocentric thinking, any egoistic thinking, thought entertained is called negative. Pratyahara. Then what you do, sir? Do this viveka. Do this inquiry into what is real and what is unreal. To know the distinction between the real and the unreal is the inquiry, constant inquiry. You know what? All that you do is you keep on asking this question. Is this real? Is this real? Is this real? Is this real? Keep on inquire. A point would come where you will be motivated to pursue the real. You know, in this inquiry, what you are doing, sir, you are dismissing the unreal, that's all. You don't gain the knowledge of the real because you don't know the real. You know, see, distinction means what? Like, when I joined Vedanta Academy, right, when I joined there, the servants are all there, you know, they talk. You know, there are a few others also, you know, who speak Hindi. Servants also are speaking. It's not that I don't know Hindi. Even now I don't know, right? But at least, you know, a few words I can pick up. You know, if you use 10 words, I know 2 words. Rest of it I can fill in the blanks. That's all. You know, based on that, your tone and the situation and all that, we try to understand. That's it. Otherwise, I don't know. But then, when these people were talking, you know, I was inquiring one day to my, you know, one of my student there was asking him, hey, I'm able to understand at least 1 or 2 words of these people. When you guys were all talking, but I could not pick up a single word when the servants were talking. Why? And the fellow burst into laughter. You know, they're laughing like, you know, they're teasing me for, you know, 1 week for that in the academy. teasing me because they were speaking Marathi. First of all, they don't know Hindi. The best part is the servants don't know Hindi. They know only Marathi. I don't know Hindi. I have no clue of Marathi. As far as I am concerned, outside Tamil Nadu, we come out means everybody speaks Hindi. That's all. If you are from North India, like for all the fellows who are from South, they say Madrasi, like that. People from Bangalore come there, they say Madrasi. They get annoyed. They say, no, we are from Bangalore. They don't understand. Similarly, for me, anything you speak there is Hindi. I don't even know Marathi. So for me to know the difference, I should know both. No, this is this, this is this. Only then I can go on to that inquiry of this is different from this is different. Now, Nitya, Anitya, he says, you should have the knowledge of Nitya, you should have the knowledge of Anitya for you to distinguish Nitya and Anitya. Do you have the knowledge of Nitya? What is real? Absolutely zero. Then, how can you distinguish? Then what is Shankara saying? Now you also keep listening to it and say, what? Wow, what a fantastic statement. Nitya, Nitya, Viveka, Vichar. You will also be so eloquent. Like I am so eloquently talking on Bhajagovindam, you can also talk eloquently Bhajagovindam. Maybe better than me, perhaps. You see? But then when one fellow asks, sir, when I don't know what is real, you are asking me to distinguish between real and unreal. How can I distinguish? Then what is Shankara saying here? What is he asking you to do here then? See, Vichara, this is called Vichara. What you do is distinguish between what is real and what is unreal. First you need to know the real. No, I don't know real. Then what to do now? Forget about all that, man. Inquiry means what? Inquire into what is known to you today and understand that as unreal. You see, what is known to you? What you are so sure about is this. What is it? You can take it from two angles here. Right? If you go Ramana methodology, he will start from what is I am sure about is me. Next fellow says, Vedanta says what? What you are so sure about is the world. Inquire into the nature of the world. Or inquire into the nature of I. Either case doesn't make any difference. Why? Both you are so sure about. You can start from anywhere. So, once you start making that probing, inquiring, analyzing, finding out, what you realize is what? Over a period of time, you realize that the world that you are experiencing is not real. Dismiss. This is not real. This is not real. This is not real. This is not real. All that I know of is getting dismissed as not real, not real, not real, not real, not real. If you keep on doing that, one day, what will happen? Suddenly one question will come. Hey, then what is real, man? All that I have been known is dismissed as unreal, 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 unreal. Then what is real? And you go to the master, master gives an answer absolutely useless. Answer he gives, what? You are that real. And he said, and you say what? Nayar. That's what I said. There's 48 days of vrata you have. observe, tremendous brother. This, Sabarimala. You go. And then you have that Tirumudi you take and you walk, and it's such a pain, that, to cross that, mountains. 5 days it takes to cross there, and it's such a pain, You do all that, and then there are 18 steps. Climb that 18 steps. You go there and look up. First thing you see is what? Tattvamasi. You are that beautiful one that was. How they have presented there. He says Tattvamasi. Why he puts it there? He say, the fellow who you are going to meet inside is who? You are that. You are the fellow sitting inside. Look at that. They say, oh, apdiya. They ask, where? They ask. I say, look up there. Fascinating one. After doing all this, you go to that fellow. He says, the most beautiful person you are going to meet in the world. Not easy to meet him. So difficult. What you have to do? You have to prepare yourself very well. You have to pay this much. You have to do this. You have to travel to come here. You come there. You wait for this one. All that. You say, just before you enter the room, he says, there will be a mirror. Carefully watch. You go there and stand. What is it? A mirror. Hey, it's the same thing I had in my bathroom. I could have easily seen myself there. Why I have to come all the way? What is real? The master gives the reply of this, absolutely uncharitable there. They say, you are that real. You say, what? What I am that real, man? I don't understand. It's so difficult to digest it. See? So what you do, sir, you do this inquiry. What happens is, through that vicharam, you dismiss all that is known to you, which is what is referred as dharana. In the other context, we refer it as dharana. Dharana is what? I've told you. The whole process. What is the step now, sir? Right now, what had happened? Uparati means you have converted everything. All that negative is being replaced. Now your thoughts were running en masse only towards positive. That is dharana. Generally, it moves only in the direction of positive thinking. Only positive thoughts keeps coming. I have to, serve my mother-in-law. It's a positive thinking. I have to serve, the person there. I have to take care of my brother's, son. I have to do this, I have to do that. These are all positive thinking. You see, all higher, noble thoughts. I have to take care of, I have to build the temple. I am not referring to Ayodhya, please. Just a thought came, I'm just saying, that's all. Don't say immediately, Ishwaran says, you build or you don't build, I don't care. See, higher thought, to serve the teacher, to study the scriptures. Bhajagovindam is getting over now. What are you going to do next? As it is, I started getting calls. What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? He said. So we'll have, next text we will start. That's all. See. So study will be there happening. But how do you go about it? You've converted all that. So right now, all your thoughts are running in one direction. That's called dharana. What is the direction, sir? Only positive. Anywhere you go, any situation you are in, you are placed in, you will not think anything selfish. All your thoughts, everything moves only towards unselfish.